Hey guys, Coach Pillowfist here. So it's up to you on whether or not you want to continue utilizing the peekaboo stance after watching this video. I'm not always going to be completely right, but this is just my input on what I think will help people in boxing. So one of the most popular topics taught on YouTube in terms of boxing seems to be the peekaboo stance. Now let me tell you this, there's a reason why they don't teach this stance in boxing gyms anymore, and there's a reason why you don't see this stance in professional boxing fights anymore. No disrespect to Customato or Mike Tyson, they were beasts, they were legends, they were GOATs. In my opinion, they were the only ones that can successfully pull off the peekaboo stance. But also in my opinion, the peekaboo stance became Mike Tyson's worst enemy in his career, and I'll explain to you why. When you think of Mike Tyson, what two things do you think of? Incredible power and impeccable head movement. The problem is, although he had impeccable head movement, that seemed to be the only defensive tool that he ever trained. Look up any of his training videos and you'll see that the only defense he's working on is head movement. Look up any of his fights and you'll see that head movement is the only defense that he's utilizing. The peekaboo stance is a stance that relies solely on head movement, right? No catching, no parrying, no blocking, no probing, none of that. Now, I don't know about you, but it's a heck of a lot less work to parry jabs than to slip them, right? Now, don't get me wrong, you want to slip the jabs as well, but you also want to mix in your parries. Now, what Mike Tyson was doing was he was literally slipping, rolling, everything that was coming at him, right? Light jabs, hard jabs, fast jabs, slow jabs, everything coming at him. Now, first of all, this is exhausting, and luckily most of his fights ended before fatigue can even be a factor. Secondly, when head movement fails, he had nothing else to fall back on, and head movement is one of the first forms of defense to fade when you start to get fatigued. Watch his fight against Lennox Lewis, for example. When Lennox Lewis was sticking that jab in his face all night, all he had was a head movement. When Lennox Lewis took away that head movement from him, he had nothing else to defend against those jabs, and he got dominated. Another example, watch his fight against Danny Williams. He was getting hit with those hooks to his ears all night because he's so acclimated to having his hands out right here that he's not defending this right here. He had no instincts to catch and shoot, no pullback, not even blocking. All of his fundamentals always resorted to that peekaboo guard. Now here is where the debated topic of having your hands static to your face during head movement versus moving your hands like that comes into play. Now the big difference with moving your head while in the peekaboo guard is you have your hands static to your face, right? Now watch this clip of Mike Tyson demonstrating head movement against Reggie Gross. Yeah, he's got his hands up covering his face during his head movement, but he's still getting cracked by every punch coming in that he's not dodging. Luckily, this guy didn't seem to have the power or the speed to really hurt Mike. So there you guys have it. Just because you have your hands up by your face during head movement doesn't mean your face is protected. So what's really better, to have faster head movement with better range of motion and expending less energy? Or the peekaboo style head movement where you're in this constant lack of counterbalance and constant flexion of your core, moving like this, all right, versus moving like this. Some of the most defensively sound fighters don't always have their hands up, and some of the most hit fighters always have their hands up. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to always have your hands up, just don't think that it's a requirement for good defense. Now, the target vulnerabilities of this stance: the sides of the head, the upper half of the face, the solar plexus, the liver. Regardless of head movement, that's always going to be vulnerable. This stance fixates my hands to where they're basically useless, all right? These days in boxing, you gotta have an active guard, you gotta feint, you gotta probe, you gotta, you know what I mean, throw it. Also, imagine you're in a street fight and you get punched right here, all right? You're still getting your knuckles dug into your mouth. With the peekaboo guard, it's a lot easier for the opponent to keep an eye on both of my hands right here. So whatever punch that I'm throwing, it's easier to keep an eye on my hands, right? Whereas if I had a more open guard like this, my punches are coming from different ranges or different angles. Now again, Mike Tyson is a GOAT, and he would still knock out most people to this day. To this day! But I just had to get this video out, man, because I just see too many people trying to replicate this style. Y'all can hate me for making this video, but at least you know that I don't sugarcoat. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see a video on how to destroy the peekaboo. Coach Pillowfist out.